Looks like we've got our first callers joining in our Spanish simulcast. Thank you for joining us today. Good evening, and welcome to this live telephone town hall meeting with residents of Hemet San Jacinto Valley. Pretty soon we'll be joined by Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez, who's going to be here to provide opening remarks and updates before answering your questions. Seeing we have some callers joining our main English language broadcast now, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Good evening and welcome to this live telephone town hall meeting with residents of Hemet San Jacinto Valley. Pretty soon we'll be joined by Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez, who's here to help provide opening remarks and updates before answering your questions live tonight. If you have a question in mind, please don't hesitate to press 0 on your phone and get your question to your operator. You can either ask your question live over the air, or, if you prefer, I can read your question over the air. Just make sure to let your operator know your preference when you press 0 to submit your question. Tonight we are calling out to thousands of your neighbors in Riverside County District 5. We'll be done in just a moment, and many of you have already registered to be called for these forums. However, if you received a call and you haven't registered to get these calls from your county supervisor, you can visit the website tthm.com/riverside to sign up for future forums and submit questions in advance. We have a few questions some of you have already submitted for our forum today. Again, that website to sign up for these forums with your Riverside County Supervisor, Yxstian Gutierrez, you can go to tthm.com/riverside. If you'd like to receive email updates from Supervisor Gutierrez, press 7 on your phone and provide us with your best email address. Again, if you want to get email updates from the supervisor, press 7. We'll also be running some polls tonight. So you can give us feedback just by voting on your phone. Even if you don't have a question for the forum, we really do appreciate that feedback. We'll run a few survey questions, and you can vote in those using your phone. And tonight we will focus on a few topics. We're going to focus on road improvements, animal services, and homelessness in Riverside County. So if you've already got questions on one of those topics, again, we want to focus on road improvements, animal services, and homelessness. If you've got a question on one of those topics for Supervisor Gutierrez, press 0 now. Get that question to an operator. Otherwise, as you're listening along to the supervisor's updates, be thinking about questions you'd like to submit for Q&A. As soon as you have a question in mind, you can press 0 to get that question to one of our operators. Again, you can either go live with your question or we'll gladly read your question if that's your preference. Just let your operator know what your preference is when you press 0 to submit your question. All right, thanks again for joining us for tonight's live forum. We're about done with our dial-out. It's my pleasure to hand things off to your county supervisor, Yxstian Gutierrez. Please go ahead, Supervisor.
All right, thank you so much, Ian. I hope all is well, and I hope all is great with the Hemet San Jacinto community. Thank you so much for the introduction, Ian. I'd like to thank all of the residents that are on the line tonight, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be part of this town hall. But this is how we can make government better for you, for all the residents, is by hearing from you. So I'm super excited to hear from you. My goal with these town halls is not just for us to come on here and talk, but again, to learn from you. And I hope that all our callers and listeners can learn more about the role we play in the community. We're going to have several folks from different departments, our transportation department, Dennis Acuna, Tanya Torno from our homeless department, which is known as the Continuum of Care, Kim Youngberg, who is our Assistant Director of Animal Services, Acting Animal Services Director, and then also Juan Gonzalez, who is our Deputy Director in Housing Workforce Solutions. So I want to thank them for joining us here tonight. So just to provide you with more opportunities to engage with us, we did put these telephone town halls together that no matter where you are, you can participate and hopefully take something away from it. It's nice because I've heard from many residents saying that the telephone town halls have been very helpful to them, and we're going to just dive in just a minute. I did want to just share some quick updates, though, about the 5th District. Some great things that we're really working on is employment opportunities. Hiring locally. I think that's very important for folks. And so we did establish several programs called the Hire District 5 program, the Hire a Senior program, and Hire a Veteran, where we provide incentives and employment opportunities ranging in stipends from $1,000 to $2,500 for every resident that they hire in those categories. We're really excited about that program. I'm also excited about another program that you can learn more information from the Hemet San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce. And this program is called Employer Connect, and it's specific to our district. And what this does is, if you are looking for employment opportunities, we will connect you with an employer, and we will pay that employer the wages for 90 days, $20 per hour for 40 hours per week for the first 90 days, and also provide you workforce training and wraparound county services. So if you're looking for employment opportunity or you need some assistance, please reach out, because we contracted to the Hemet San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce. Reach out to our local chamber, and they can put you in contact of how to fill out the intake form and get you in through the program. It's a great, great program. In fact, that program is also helping us to combat and really tackle homelessness, right? And so the topics tonight also include homelessness, and our continuum of care will be training these employees on how they can provide resources to homeless people. I did want to mention we're really excited about a grant that we received from the state to assist the San Jacinto Riverbed and address the homelessness there. It's about $12 million from the state, one of the highest grants that we've received of the county, and we're really excited about it. And it's not just only going to help the folks that are homeless in the riverbed, but also surrounding area, which includes the city of San Jacinto and Hemet. I've actually had the chance, and I can tell you this, to see it firsthand how it works, and it really is working. I think the coordination that the team is doing, and because we have those extra dollars, we can provide them immediate housing. It really, really is helping. And so I want to hear from you guys as well about that. I did want to share, I started a program with the fire department, Hemet Fire Department, and it's called our Community Risk Reduction, and it's to help our youth, young people, find employment opportunities. And so if they're between the ages of 16 to 24, for 8 weeks, at 20 hours a week for $20 per hour, they can be part of the Community Risk Reduction Program. And this is where we teach our cadets leadership opportunities, and they get trained on how to become a firefighter and also a code enforcement officer, and they get real life experience too. Another program that I'm also launching is called the Second Chance Program. So anyone that you know that's needing a second chance, that was involved in the justice system or is at risk of being in the justice system, so either way, we can provide them with employment opportunities and reimbursement of their wages for up to 90 days as well. And that's known as the Second Chance Program. So as you can see, there's so much stuff going on in the 5th District. Also, we're working on road improvements too. We've helped provide funding for State Street with the city of Hemet. We've also are working diligently with the Department of Animal Services as well. We opened the San Jacinto Animal Shelter about a year and a half ago, and we're doing a lot of improvements there. In fact, I'm really working on trying to reduce the euthanasia rate there and provide more homes to our pets. And so I look forward to getting a question hopefully about that, and maybe I can chat a little bit about some of the things that we're doing to address those needs. So I'll turn it back to Ian, and I think that introduction has allowed for more callers to get on the call. But again, I really love these telephone town halls because we've had thousands of residents listening in. So Ian, any questions yet?
Yeah, we do have a question from Napoleon and Hemet, and I'll go ahead and bring it in. It's on the topic of roads. He says, I don't know if you're the proper authority to address this too, but the roads throughout the city of Hemet are awful. If repaving was kept up as the roads eroded, the problem wouldn't have gotten as out of control as it is now. Do you have any information regarding this subject? Napoleon also says, thank you. I really like your monthly newsletters. You're doing a great job, and keep it up. Again, that's from Napoleon and Hemet on roads.
No, thank you so much, Napoleon. I'm going to have our transportation director, Dennis Acunas, respond to that as well. But one of the things I just wanted to say is that there's the city roads and there's unincorporated roads. One of the things that we can do from our end on our office, if you know of a road that does need assistance, is calling our office and 951-955-1050, and letting us know what it is, so then we can connect you with the city of Hemet, and we follow up with them too to make sure. One of the things that you have to also consider is that for many years, a lot of cities and throughout the county didn't defer funding into the roads, and that was because of the economy. And then once the economy got better, they started to, but there's just so much maintenance, right? There's just so much need. So as a county, we are helping cities. In fact, we've helped the city of Hemet with some funding, in particular one of our major streets, State Street. So I'll ask Dennis, who's our transportation director, to respond too.
Good evening. Yes, that's a great question. So I'd like to start off by saying thank you, Supervisor, for that distinction between the city roads and the county roads. When it comes to the county roads, we do have a robust maintenance program in the county. Just within District 5, we've allocated nearly $6 million in road maintenance money for the current fiscal year and almost $7.5 million for District 5 fiscal year 25-26. What that does is allow us to do a lot of preventative maintenance as well as reconstruction of our roadways. Our main focus is maintaining our existing roadway network as well as enhancing it. So for the Hemet San Jacinto Valley area, a couple projects that I would like to point out is we're currently working on Cornell Street. We have our big Gilman Springs project that is currently under construction, which many of the residents of Hemet San Jacinto use that daily.
That's a great point, Des. Can you talk a little bit about the Gilman Springs road improvement and what we're doing there?
Yes. So we just wrapped up phase 1 of the current phase of the project. We had it closed for about 7 weeks, but we were able to put in a passing lane for northbound. We rehabbed the pavement, widened the pavement, and installed a curbed median divider with delineators.
So you mean so there is a divider there now, which is great for the community?
Yes, between Alessandro and Bridge Street. So now if you drive it, you will see that median, see the delineators, and that smooth ride. Phase 2 of this project will happen after the new year. We'll have another closure between Bridge and 79 to install the items east of Bridge. But overall, this is a great project. It was funded mostly through federal funds, $20 million we received from the state. So it was a great safety project. A couple other items I'd like to note for next year. Within the next 12 to 18 months, we'll be working on Fairview Avenue, Cedar Avenue, Devonshire, Lincoln, New Chicago, Palm, State, amongst others. So there's a lot of stuff coming to the community. And lastly, I'll wrap up saying is if you do have a specific request, you see a pothole, you see a down sign, please call our office. We have a Hemet maintenance yard in East Hemet or East San Jacinto that can respond quickly, and that number is 951-955-6899. I'll repeat that, 951-955-6899, and then that will be responded to within 24 hours.
Okay, no, thank you so much, Dennis, for that response. And again, it's very important that you do let us know those specific roads that are in assistance. And again, if you let them know or our office know, then we get on it and we open up a case. But the only way for us to know is if you let us know. Next question.
Thank you again. Appreciate the answer. We'll go to a live caller next. And a reminder here, folks, if you have a question you want to submit for Q&A, press 0. Already have quite a few of you in line with them. If you want to give us your email address for updates, press 7. Denise, welcome from San Jacinto. What's your question for the supervisor? Denise, we still got you there?
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Oh.
Hey there. I can just... Yeah, Denise, do you want me to read your question, or do you want to ask yourself?
Oh, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So Denise is asking, she's concerned about the homeless, what can be done to help. We've got this same question from Laura in Hemet and Andy in Riverside as well, all asking about what can be done to help the homeless situation. Supervisor, you want to start in on that?
No, absolutely. Thank you, Ian, and thank you, Denise, number one, for calling this town hall and being part of this and giving us that feedback. It's something that's a priority for me. It's a priority for our office. We want to make sure that we're helping folks, but also keeping our community safe. as well. And one of the biggest things that I've really been doing is working with our Continuum of Care office, our Housing Workforce Solutions Department. In fact, we have one of our deputy directors here today, Tanya, and I'll let her respond as well. But we're trying to do a lot with homelessness. As you know, there has been an increase in homelessness in Riverside County, about 12%. We're going to do a point-in-time count coming up next month to determine what the rates are. But it's something that's happening throughout all of the 58 counties in California and even in the nation. But that means we need to do something about it, and we are. One of the things I started is a program called the Homeless to Work program. And this is a program recently that was launched with Salvation Army in putting folks and giving them opportunities to work and wraparound services. And so Salvation Army is actually implementing that program. But the other thing that we need also is the assistance from the community, because we have a lot of great programs for housing assistance, with wraparound services. We've got street outreach teams, mobile crisis teams, all of those things. And so if we hear about where they are and the need, what we will do is dispatch those outreach teams to that location. And so, Tanya, I don't know if you wanted to chime in here on this and talk a little bit about the county's response as a whole, and specifically what we could do in the Hemet San Jacinto, maybe touch upon the funding that we got for Hemet San Jacinto too.
Absolutely. Good evening. Again, Tanya Torno, Deputy Director with Housing and Workforce Solutions. I am pleased to share that we are regularly engaged in outreach services and providing a range of housing options to residents who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness in Hemet and San Jacinto, and that is in large part due to the leadership of Supervisor Gutierrez and the strong partnership that we have established with both cities of Hemet and San Jacinto, who also have contracted street outreach teams that are funded and organized through CityNet, a nonprofit organization who is on the ground and meeting people where they're at and working in coordination with our county teams through behavioral health, our Department of Housing and Workforce Solutions, which includes our Housing Authority, Adult Services, which targets direct support for seniors, and even animal services through that partnership to ensure that unsheltered individuals who have pets can also get the care they need, and that they were looking for housing options that take the whole family unit with their pets in mind. So what I would want you to know is that help is on the way, and as part of the $12 million that we secured through the state grant, we're going to be able to provide housing to 100 individuals. We've already, in a period of 4 months, have been able to connect 33 residents into housing.
Wow.
And on a weekly basis, we are coordinating calls with those city teams, with the county teams that I mentioned, to make sure that we are providing that same path for 70 more individuals. Again, that will include residents in both cities. So we are active, and if you're on the line and you know somebody who needs help, we want to direct you to the Home Connect number as a point of entry. That number is 1-800-498-8847. Again, that number is 1-800-498-8847. And again, finding housing absolutely takes time, but through this grant, we have the ability to bridge individuals into temporary housing solutions until we can find landlords that are willing to rent with them. And of course, all of these services will include wraparound care to help people get jobs, health care, and other benefits that they need.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's, just so you know, too, that's specific to the Hemet San Jacinto area, that we have these dollars and we can really do this coordinated approach and really ensure that we can provide them the housing. And so that's something that we are working on head on. Thank you so much for that question.
Next up for you, Supervisor, we've got Javier and Hemet, and we're going to stay on homelessness here. A lot of questions on that tonight, and his question is, what are current and long-term plans for serving the homeless and bringing affordable housing to the Hemet and San Jacinto area. You talked a little bit about short-term and some of the things you've already done. What's the long-term plan in that area?
No, absolutely. That's a great question. One of the things that we have to look at with homelessness, it's a very complex problem. We have to address housing. We have to address economic opportunity, outreach, accountability, transparency. And one of the things that we look at is the different levels of housing, from emergency housing, transitional housing to permanent supportive housing, and making sure that they have some stable place for them. And so I do have Juan, who's from HWS here, sitting with us, and I would like for him to kind of touch a little bit about some of the projects we have specifically, and what we can do as a county. In fact, we can put some monies together, sometimes even with cities, or we use our county dollars, basically known as it's a funny term, but SHOTO dollars, or we can put that together and we can build more housing, apartments and things like that. So Juan, can you kind of maybe touch upon this topic?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. Juan Garcia, Deputy Director with the Department of Housing and Workforce Solutions. Currently, we have over 1,200 units of affordable housing under construction in the different parts of the county of Riverside. We do have projects in the pipeline that are specifically located in the city of Hemet. One project that was recently awarded grant funding from the Strategic Growth Council from the state of California. That project is going to be applying for low-income housing tax credits in the early part of 2025. And if successful, that project will be breaking ground in the fall of 2025. And that project includes Section 8 vouchers that are going to specifically be targeting for permanent supportive housing. It includes wraparound services as part of that project. And there's other projects also in the early stages of planning in the 5th District that we hope to bring to fruition. There's a project as well in the city of Moreno Valley. That project is for seniors. It's 100% permanent supportive housing. And that project is also in the funding stages, so they're also going to be applying for low-income housing tax credits in the early part of 2025, and we're hoping that project moves forward. And we're always working with different stakeholders, different developers, and cities too, right? Cities as well. Most of these projects include funding from the cities and other potential funding or assistance as far as like a waiving developer impact fee. So we work really close with the cities on all these projects that are built inside the cities.
And Juan, and they can go to your website, right, to learn more about some of these projects, or maybe reach out to your office?
Yes, absolutely. We have a map with all the affordable housing projects that are currently under construction or completed, and you can go to our website at hws.rivco.org, or you can call and get this information over the phone at 951-955-8126, 951-955-8126.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Juan. Thanks, Ian. Next question, please.
Sure thing. And real quick, we're going to run our first survey question here. We've got a few surveys lined up for folks, and you can vote on this using your phone. So even if you don't have a question to submit tonight, this is a good way for you to give us some feedback. So let's run that, and then we'll be getting a question in from Daryl in San Jacinto. First question for you folks is, what topics are most important to you? So what is the most important issue for you? Press 1 if it's public safety. Press 2 if it's transportation. Press 3 if it's housing. 4 for homelessness. And 5 if it's something else. So again, what is the most important issue to you in Riverside County? Press 1 if it's public safety, 2 for transportation, 3 for housing, 4 for homelessness, and 5 for something else. And while you vote on that question, Supervisor, let's get Daryl up here. Daryl, we've got you live on the line with the supervisor and the rest of the team here at Riverside County. What's your question for us?
Hello. It was about Gilman Springs, and I know you have phases of construction going on, but is there any plans for lighting down that road? because it gets very dark at night, and if someone does get a breakdown, it's very dark and hard to see.
No, thank you so much, Daryl, for that question. That's the first question I received about that, and that's what I like about these town halls, because we get new ideas, right? And that could be something we can take a look at. I know we do have our different phases. I'm going to have our transportation director, Dennis, if you want to maybe respond to that. I'm not too sure if we have that in one of our phases or.
Of course, and good evening, Daryl. So several years ago, just real quick, about 7 years ago, we looked at adding street lighting at several locations along Gilman. At that time, it was recommended not to, for several reasons. And one that kind of people chuckle about is light pollution. It's an environmentally sensitive area, so we have to be mindful of that as well. But with these current phases and the kind of the change in how Gilman Street is used by the motorists, our plan is as soon as we finish this current safety project, is we are going to go back out there and look at locations where we may be able to put in lighting. And with technology and, over the years getting better in solar power lighting, we're able to provide lighting in areas where we may not have in the past because we didn't have the direct power sources. So the short answer is yes, not immediately. We're going to do our reviews after the current project is completed.
Yeah, and I think we just want to get that current project done because it's such a emergency,
Exactly.
And hazard for a lot of people, and we've had a lot of car accidents. But we've made note of that, and we'll continue to follow up on that. It's a great idea. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate the question from Daryl. Let's go to Kathy and Hemet next, who's asked me to read the question. Question is, what can we do about all the abandoned cats and dogs in our county? We need an effective trap, neuter, return program for feral cats. Supervisor, anything come to mind for Kathy and Hemet?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for that question. We do have some pretty innovative programs that we're working on right now. I'm going to let Kim Youngberg, our acting director for Animal Services, touch on this.
Hi, Kathy. Kim Youngberg with Riverside County Department of Animal Services as the interim director. So we do have a spay and neuter clinic at the San Jacinto Valley Animal Campus. I would encourage anyone that's looking for trap, neuter, return services to email our office at shelterinfo@rivco.org, shelterinfo@rivco.org. We have actually been actively doing trap, neuter, return clinics through our office out there and coordinating with people in the community on special days where they can trap cats and bring them in and have them spayed or neutered. And just so that everybody knows, we also have a vaccine and microchipping clinic coming up on the 27th at the clinic as well. So people that are looking for those services at a low cost can also get them there. And with any of these programs with homeless dogs and cats, we really encourage the community to, anything you can do to help us out, come and volunteer. We would love to have people come and volunteer to just help us doing some activities to try and get more pets home, by searching on social media. We give out microchip scanners to people in the community so that they can help us scan pets for microchips so that we can help get them home. All types of activities like that. Volunteer, foster, adopt a pet.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Kim. And one of the things, just to address the question related to dogs, too, is we're right now starting a new program that we're hoping to launch next month called the D5 Furry Pet Program, Furry Foster Pet Program. And this is where we're going to allow volunteers, responsible volunteers, to be able to foster a dog from the San Jacinto Animal Shelter and actually receive a daily stipend for up to 3 weeks. So if you're interested in that, please be on the lookout. Please press 7 to subscribe to our newsletter so that you can learn about the program. But it's going to be a really great, innovative tool, and I think it's going to help a lot of our furry pets.
Thank you, Supervisor. And folks, if you missed any of the phone numbers or websites that any of our speakers have mentioned tonight, In addition to pressing 7 to give us your email address for updates from the supervisor, you can also press 7 just to have one of our operators repeat any of that detail for you that we've mentioned, any of the phone numbers or websites that our speakers have mentioned tonight. So if you missed something, didn't get a chance to write it down, press 7 here to have an operator repeat it for you. And Supervisor, we're going to stay on the topic of animals next for Jacqueline and Hemet. Jacqueline, it looked like you had a similar question. Did you have some follow-up, anything additional you'd like to ask of the supervisor
Yes.
and our representatives from the county tonight?
Hi, Jacqueline.
Yes, I do. Thank you for having me. Hi.
Yes.
So I noticed there was a couple times, I adopted one pet from an animal shelter that did not work out for me, but when I went to try to return this animal, there was some issues of actually having to return the animal. They eventually did take him back. And then I also had some cats that I found out I was allergic to. Here was about a few months ago or whatever. They refused to take the animal. And so I found it was, I know that there's there's a problem having a large population of animals within the shelters. What are you doing to rectify that situation? And the second question I have, I noticed that I have a dog trainer, and she's having a hard time finding low-cost spay and neuter clinics, especially for large dogs. What other resources are out there available to, like, dog trainers that who are working with dogs or working with, aggressive dogs who are trying to train these animals, and they need to find these resources for owners who need to spay and neuter their animals at a low cost?
No, absolutely. Well, and I'll take the two questions here. The first question I'll have Kim address it a little bit in terms of what do we do in terms of our process when folks want to return a pet. But the second part of, more spay and neuters, I couldn't agree more. I think that we do need to have this more accessible for the public, for those organizations, and at a low cost. I mean, it is a very high cost when it's at private clinics. One of the things that we're doing is we have hired more veterinarians. We are working on other ways that we can do the spay and neuters faster and more efficiently. We have 2 mobile units, and we're going to continue to have. One of the things we did last year, and we're going to continue this year, is we're going to provide extra funding to animal services to provide these clinics for residents. So then you would basically make an appointment online, and then you can take your pet to there, and it will be free. So please be on the lookout for these. We have these generally maybe like quarterly. It depends. Maybe I would say every 3 months or 4 months around there. But we're going to continue to have more of those. We're looking at providing more funding for that. So please, stay on the lookout because we do announce these on social media, and we do announce them on the Riverside County Animal Services Department website, and then also with our newsletter as well. Kim, do you have anything to add about that? And maybe also the first question, too, about returning pets that unfortunately just wasn't a good match.
Sure. Well, generally with adopted animals, we would take those as a return. When it comes to animals that have an owner that are being surrendered, we have to kind of take those on a case-by-case basis. It just depends on the circumstances. We're not required by law to take in animals that are owner surrendered, but if there are, circumstances where they absolutely can't take them, then we would generally take them in.
And then quick question is, they adopt them, and then it's not working out.
Yes.
According to Jack, like if it's not working out, they could return them.
Right. Yes. If they are adopted from us, we will take them back with no questions asked within the first 30 days. Okay. So I'm not sure how long the time was from when the pet was adopted to when it was brought back to the shelter. Okay. But we will generally take them back, as it sounds like happened.
Yeah. So that's a good point to know.
Right. And just so that people know, because of the large number of animals that come into our shelters, we really do try to encourage people to try and see if they can help rehome animals. They're the best judge of who would best take care of their animal because they've known their animal, and there are a lot of resources out there that can help them, like online resources that can help people to rehome their pets on their own and things like that. But again, if it is really dire circumstances, then we will take them into the shelter. And then with the spay and neuter question, we absolutely agree that, we want to provide those services as much as we can. Just so that people know out there, we're undergoing a national veterinary shortage. At the beginning of this year, the Board of Supervisors did grant us the budget to hire on 3 additional teams of veterinary surgeons and support staff, and so we're in the process of recruiting those, and we're hoping to definitely expand our low-cost spay and neuter services. For now, I would just advise people, to keep an eye on our social media and also on our website, which is rcdas.org. And we often list our pop-up spay and neuter clinics on there so that people can make an appointment online. They fill up very quickly, I will tell people, but just keep checking back because, we post them all the time.
No, and thank you, Jacqueline, for that question because, sometimes residents don't want to do that, right? The spay and neuters, and so I think it's important to ask that question, and it's a good thing there, so I appreciate it. Next question, please.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Lori in Hemet next, who's asked me to read this question. She's asking, why are you and Chuck Washington allowing a non-homed group, CityNet, to build a center of tiny homes near a mostly 55-plus community? That's from Lori in Hemet.
Okay. Thank you, Ian, and thank you, Lori, for that question. What I like about these town halls, like I mentioned before, is we get to hear your feedback, right? And it's a broad coverage of residents and amount of people, and so I appreciate that. One of the things that we're looking at doing as a county of Riverside, because homelessness has increased, is trying to ensure that we have enough emergency housing beds, enough transitional housing beds, and then also permanent supportive housing, right? We want to ensure we have enough affordable housing, enough permanent housing, houses, apartments, all of that thing. I think we can all agree to that. One of the things that we are working with the city of Hemet, I do have Tanya here as well that can provide a response as well. One of the things when we did get some feedback about a specific location, we decided to meet as a team, and we're continuing to meet as a team to look at the scope and options and looking to see, what we can do there so that way everybody's happy, right? I know that the city of Hemet did take a position to not support that project. So that's why, as an office, as your county supervisor, I basically got my team together, and we're looking at other options right now and to look at the scope as well of that project. Tanya, do you have anything to add about it?
Yeah, just that, as the supervisor said, we certainly and greatly appreciate the feedback from the community as well as the cities, as it is always our intent to create a housing project that not only the county is proud of, but that the entire community can receive well. So I think to add, know that what is or what will ultimately be proposed is a housing project that will provide temporary resources to people who are experiencing homelessness that will be well coordinated alongside our public safety teams and a team of social workers who are well equipped to support people who are in crisis. And many of these individuals are youth, are seniors, families who are experiencing homelessness in large part due to a financial hardship. And so with that, as the supervisor said, we appreciate the feedback, and we'll be going back to do an internal assessment to determine how to proceed with the scope of the project. So keep the feedback coming. We'd love to hear from you. You can also contact us directly at coc@rivco.org, and we will certainly make sure to keep the community posted on any changes and additional information.
No, thank you so much for that, Tanya. And one of the things we've learned is, we want to make sure we have buy-in from the community. So I appreciate you providing that feedback to us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. Let's get our next polling question in here for our audience, and then we'll be going to Michelle and San Jacinto. Our next polling question for you folks is this. What housing policies should be prioritized? It's going to be what projects would you like us to prioritize? So what projects would you like us to prioritize? Press 1 if it's beautification projects. Press 2 if it's affordable housing projects. Press 3 for road improvement projects, and 4 if it's something else. So again, what county projects would you like prioritized? Press 1 for beautification projects, 2 for affordable housing projects, and 3 for road improvement projects. You can go ahead and vote now, and while you're voting on that polling question, we're going to go to Michelle in San Jacinto. Let's get her up here.
All right. Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, are you able to hear us? All right, let me go ahead and read Michelle's question. She's asking, when Phase 2 happens, are they going to be able to use Bridge Street to the Fairway? So again, question is, when Phase 2 happens, are they going to be able to use Bridge Street to the Fairway?
All right, and I think that she's referring to the Gilman Springs Road, so I'll have Dennis, if you want to respond to that.
Yes, I believe what she's asking, if I can maybe clarify, is when we close Gilman Springs Road for Phase 2 of our current project, it will be closed between Bridge Street and Highway 79, Lambs Canyon. When we do that closure, Bridge Street will be open. So if you take Gilman Springs, let's say from Roanoke Valley, you get off on Bridge Street to go east to San Jacinto, you can take Gilman Springs all the way to Bridge Street, make a right, go down the Ramona Expressway, and then to the east to Gilman Springs. So Bridge Street will remain open during our next closure.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's important to know.
It's very, and most importantly too is we're going to be sending out notices coming up starting next week on the closure start date, the end date, and all the time, and we'll share with your office so we can get the word out to the public. So, and we'll also have changeable message signs in the field, so everybody can kind of start planning around the next closure of Gilman Springs Road.
That's great. And Dennis, will you also share on social media too? Do you guys have a Facebook page?
Yes. So we have a Facebook page. We have Instagram. We have, I guess, X. It's called. Our handle is RivcoTrans, and we post all of our stuff for all of our road projects weekly. So give us a follow, and you'll be up to date.
Great. Awesome. Shout out there, right?
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Thanks. Next question, please, Ian.
Sure thing. We're going to get a polling question in, and then we've got Phyllis up live in Hemet with another question on homelessness. Our next survey question is this. How do you prefer to get information about events and ongoing initiatives? Press 1 if it's social media. Press 2 if it's email newsletters. Press 3 if you like to use Nextdoor. So again, how do you prefer to get information about events and ongoing initiatives? Press 1 for social media. 2 for email newsletters, 3 if you prefer Nextdoor. And remember, if you're not already getting the supervisor's email newsletter, you can press 7 here, speak to an operator, give them your best email address, and we're going to go to Phyllis in Hemet next. Phyllis, thank you so much for waiting. What's your question?
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I just wanted to tell you that we have an opportunity at Favor Life Resource Center in Hemet. And we have the building for 5 days during the week vacant, which could be used as a hub for meetings, for 211 call centers, for getting whatever the homeless needs or people in the community. And what we want to do is partner. For example, I've met with the animal shelter in the past, and we took their flyers and put them in our resource center and started handing them out in the community to make sure people know that these pets need homes. So I just wanted to make sure that people know that Favor Life Resource Center is available as a hub for whatever we need to do to increase what needs to happen for the city.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing that resource. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So it's a Favor Life Resource Center, and it's open. Well, it's 5 days vacant right now, but people can go there for those resources. So Favor Life Resource Center in Hemet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate that resource. Thank you so much. Appreciate these community forums. So thanks to everybody who's participated so far. We've got about 13 minutes left. If you want to get those email updates, go ahead and remember you can press 7 on your phone. We're going to go to our next survey question for you, and you get to vote on your phone on this one as well. We're going to ask, what is the most important issue that you see facing Riverside County right now? Press 1 if it's homelessness. Press 2 if you think it's animal services. Press 3 if it's public safety. Press 4 for cost of living. And 5 if it's warehouses. So again, what is the most important issue you see that the county is facing right now? Press 1 for homelessness, 2 for animal services, 3 for public safety, 4 for cost of living, and 5 if it's warehouses. Go ahead and vote on that now, and we'll get our next question up in just a moment. I did want to give one more reminder here that if you need a phone number or website repeated by one of our operators, we had a pretty big queue right away, but we've got that cleared now. You can press 7 if you need to get a website, phone number, or email address repeated for you. And then you can also press 0 if you have a last-minute question to submit. But let's get to this one from Jocelyn and Hemet, who's asking, at a past town hall meeting, you stated that if anyone sees a homeless person, they should call a specific number and someone will pick them up. Please provide that number again. I observed that since the last town hall, the homeless have more than doubled. Now I'm seeing many homeless people with dogs. I'm happy with they have a companion, but I'm also concerned for the dog's well-being. How are the dogs eating and drinking? Additionally, I observed more young homeless kids. Please do something to start addressing this problem. And we've talked about this quite a bit here tonight, Supervisor, but of course she's asking for that phone number first. If you can start there, and then anything else you'd offer for Jocelyn and Hemet.
No, thank you, Jocelyn, for that question. I know, Tanya, you might have the number by heart right here, but it's really important that you call this number. We do have a behavioral health crisis number that people can call. And what they do is there's 2 separate outreach teams. There's behavioral health, and then there's also the COC. And they both send their street outreach teams, and when they meet them, they assess the situation, their needs. They put them into a database system, so then that way they can follow up as well. But again, the only way we will know is if people can call this number or at least report these concerns to us. So, Tanya, if you want to share that number, that would be great.
Yes. That number, again, is the county's Home Connect number, which is a 24/7 hotline that can provide any individual or a neighbor or provider with resources in regards to emergency shelter and get an individual connected to a street outreach team who can meet them where they're at their current place of residence, if it's in the riverbed or on the streets. We will meet them there and do a formal assessment. That number is 1-800-498-8847. And again, that number is 1-800-498-8847.
I also wanted to just mention real quick that we also have a mobile app as well, our district office. So if you download our mobile app on the Apple Store or the Android Store, it's Rivco D5. You can also report there. There's a little tab there, and it says report an issue. You can report there, and it sends directly an email to my office, and we open up a case, and then from there we can also connect with that phone number as well. So again, you can go to Rivco D5, just search that in the App Store to download our mobile app. Or you can call the phone number, too, that Tanya mentioned as well.
Much appreciated. Thank you again, and thanks for our last question from Jocelyn. Bruce is going to go live with us here in San Jacinto. Bruce, welcome to the call. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead with your question, please, sir.
Hi, Bruce.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Supervisor and
Hi.
Supervisor staff. I appreciate you guys taking my call. Hey, I want to kind of piggyback on what Kathy and Jacqueline were asking about animal services.
Okay.
And I'm going to be specific about the cat situation because our feral cat situation is really horrible. And a lot of people try to help. I tried to help. A feral female had a litter of kittens, and I eventually managed to trap her and get her fixed. And I caught the kittens, and I tamed them, and I took them for their first vet visit, to make sure they didn't have any diseases. I did all that. I couldn't get them adopted. I tried so hard. And then I reached out to all the different rescue places. And most of them didn't respond to me. A couple of them did, said they're full. So then I went to the animal shelter, both Moreno Valley and then the county shelters. They told me cats are free range. You know, Riverside County at least said, we're full, but cats are free range. That's our policy. I'm like, what do I do? You just let them go. They'll take care of themselves. That's not a good policy. And I want to know, I know it's overwhelming. I understand it's overwhelming. But we've got to do more to help and deal, help people and help the situation. All these feral cats, especially this free roaming thing, they don't live well. They spread disease. They make messes everywhere. It's pretty bad. I eventually did get a Haven Pet Center. They're pretty wonderful. They accepted the kittens that I rescued, but it cost me $550. They charge a fee for it.
No. Go ahead. Oh, I don't know what happened there, but I was just going to mention that. Well, thank you, Bruce, for calling about that. One of the things that I'm hoping is the foster pet program will help incentivize people to actually take them in, because we're going to be paying responsible foster parents to foster and then hopefully adopt them for up to 21 days. But I also just thank you for letting me know about that too, because wasn't aware of that issue, and quite frankly, and so I appreciate that. You always learn something every day. But I'd like for Kim to address that question as well.
Sure, and thank you for asking the question, Bruce. And just to address the issue of free-range cats in a policy, in the state of California, cats have always been allowed to free range. There are no leash laws for cats as there are for dogs. And when we talk about, free range or community cats, we're generally thinking about ones that are unsocialized, so not, the kittens that it sounds like you took care of and, were able to socialize so that they were friendly with people. We're usually thinking about the feral cats that are essentially wild. And the main thing that we can do to get their populations down is the trap, neuter, return, which is, anybody that needs assistance with trap, neuter, return. Again, I would encourage them to email us at shelterinfo@rivco.org, and we can work on trying to get appointments for those trapped cats to come in. We organized, whole days where the community can bring these cats in so that we can get them spayed or neutered. Now, if you do find a litter of kittens that need help and you need assistance with that, we would also encourage you to bring those kittens down to the shelter, and we can help people out with foster supplies. In addition to the program that the supervisor was talking about, we offer food and litter and those types of supplies for these cats, and then can also help with spay and neuter and helping you get them adopted or placed. We're happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you. And thank you, Bruce, for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, Bruce, of course, for the work you're doing in your community. And we are going to take our next question. Then we'll have time for one more poll, then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Supervisor, our next one comes to us from Melissa in Hemet, who's asking, let's see here, I'm in need of housing assistance in the Hemet area. Where can I go for housing assistance? Can we revisit that very important topic here, please?
No, absolutely. It's a very important topic, and thank you, Melissa, for calling in, and I appreciate you sharing that. I'm going to let Juan speak to that a little bit. It really depends on the type of housing assistance you need, but I know that we have a website, and I know we have a phone number too with folks that can really provide maybe some assistance with that.
Yeah, hi. So we do have a website where we have all our available affordable housing projects in Riverside County. There's several projects in the Hemet area that are currently available, and if you don't have access to the internet, you can also call 951-955-1161, and we can provide you with the list of the available options in that area. And once again, the number is 951-955-1161, 1161. We're constantly working on a new projects, and like I mentioned earlier, we do have a project in the pipeline on State Street that we're hoping we can break ground on that in the fall of 2025.
Great. Thank you so much, Juan.
All right, we've got time for our last survey question, and the question for you folks is going to be, what would you like to discuss in our next forum? So I'm going to give you some options here. You can tell us what you think is the most important topic to discuss the next time Supervisor Gutierrez holds one of these forums. Press 1 if it's employment programs. Press 2 if you would rather hear more about youth programs. Press 3 if it's emergency preparedness. Press 4 if you want to hear more about roads, and 5 if you want to hear more about public safety. So again, we discussed 3 big topics tonight, but what would you like us to discuss next? Press 1 if it's employment programs, 2 if it's youth programs, 3 if it's emergency preparedness, 4 for roads, and then 5 if it's public safety. That'll be our last survey tonight, and Supervisor Gutierrez, I'll turn it over to you to take us to the close here.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ian, and thank you to the residents of the Hemet San Jacinto area for chiming in tonight and letting us know about your concerns, your needs. As your county supervisor, I'm very, very concerned, and I want to make sure that we do address those needs. And that's why we do hold these telephone town halls. We also hold in-person meet and greets in HOAs, in other locations. And the only way we can improve our departments, the only way we can improve government and how we provide services is from hearing from you. So that's why this is so important. I did want to share that we do have another program called the Home Rehabilitation Program. This is a program where we can provide up to $20,000 of home improvements to your home, whether it's a stick-built home or a manufactured home. Make sure to get into that program. If you have any questions about that and you're in need, this is a program that's very specific only to my district. So that means you have to live in District 5, which includes the Hemet San Jacinto area. So we want to let people know about that. And then just remember that, you each play a key role in shaping our community's future. So continue to voice your questions, your concerns, your feedback beyond tonight's town hall. My staff and I are going to, any of the questions that we didn't get addressed, just know that we are going to make a case out of it, and then we're going to call you personally. So please be on the lookout if you see us calling you or texting you, because we want to address your concern and provide that answer. Thank you again for all of you for your dedication to improving our community, and I hope that you have a great night. Please stay safe, and happy holidays to all of you. Thank you so much.